It's no secret that getting good engagement on Spotify is going to help you trigger the algorithm and push your music further on the platform. Now, when I mean engagement, I'm talking about saves and when users who listen to your song drag your song into their own playlists. These actions are valuable and Spotify keeps track of all of it thanks to their new engagement tab on the Spotify for Artists portal. Now, if you haven't checked out this engagement tab, I would encourage you to open a new tab on your computer if you're on it right now and navigate to it while you're watching this video. It's a really great feature, and what I'm going to do in this video is explain what good engagement and bad engagement looks like for the different marketing tactics that you might be using for your music today. Now, you might have heard somewhere on the internet that a good engagement rate is somewhere around 10%. But in this video, I'm going to get more specific and tell you that 10% is not always the right engagement rate to shoot for. It really depends on the type of promotion that you're doing for your music, and there's a much bigger range. So in this video, I'm going to show you that your engagement can actually range from about 0.5% all the way to 50% engagement rate, depending on the types of actions you're taking as a music marketer. So let's discuss. Hey everyone, welcome back. My name's Ryan from the Indie Music Academy, and this is the channel where we uncover the mysteries of the music industry, learn how to grow a larger fan base, and earn an income from our music. And in this video, I'm going to dive into the Spotify for Artists portal. I'm going to show you my analytics along with some other artists in the new engagement tab that was just released. It's currently in beta, but the data that you get is fantastic. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out, and I'm going to share the screen really quick, and I'm going to explain all the metrics that you get inside this engagement tab and what it means and how to calculate your engagement so you can know if the promotions that you're doing for your music are working. So without further ado, let's head on over to the screen capture and I'll go over everything inside the portal. All right, so you're seeing my Spotify for Artists portal, and I've already navigated over to the engagement tab, which is brand new. To get there, just navigate over to audience at the top menu and then click into engagement in the sub menu. And you'll see listeners, streams, your stream per listener ratio, saves, and then playlist ads. If you don't know what any of these metrics are, that's okay. Just click the question mark and Spotify actually gives you an explanation of what all of this data means. So first, listeners, pretty self-explanatory. It's the number of people on Spotify who played your music. But here's something that's interesting. There may be a small difference between the listener number you see on this page and the number you see on your stats page. And that's totally true for me. You can see over here in stats, there's 6,261 listeners in the last 28 days. But over in the engagement tab, that's off by about 10 or 15, 6,276. So, you know, it's whatever. It's close enough. But it's interesting how even Spotify has a discrepancy between the two tabs, right? Pretty funny. Now, next is streams. The number of times your songs were played for more than 30 seconds. And this is actually really important that they put that 30-second number there, because on my wife's album, there is a track that is under 30 seconds. She's a classical pianist, and one of the pieces on her album was only about 28 seconds. And we were puzzled why we weren't getting any plays on that piece. And this is the exact reason. Even if they play all the way through the track, all the way through 28 seconds from beginning to end, and it goes into the next track, Spotify will still not count that as a stream because it needs to hit 30 seconds. So that's really important to know, especially when you're planning your album. Maybe you have interludes or tracks that are a little shorter, and you're not going to get any stream counts if it's under 30 seconds. So we learned that the hard way, and Spotify is finally telling you that here in this engagement tab. Next, you have the streams to listeners ratio right here. This is the average number of times your listeners played your songs. A higher stream to listener ratio indicates a higher audience engagement. So that's important, especially as we start talking about engagement. Okay, now my two favorite stats, saves and then playlist ads. Both of these are showing an intention for your fans to listen to your song in the future. So saves are the number of times people saved your music to their saved library. I just said saved a million times, but it's important to know that once they click the little heart button by your song, that song is dropped into a running list of all of their saved songs that they've ever saved before. This differs from playlist ads. Playlist ads are the number of times people added your music to their playlist. These are their own personal playlists. And it also shows an intention to listen again in the future. So you can see even Spotify kind of describes these two actions as similar and equally important, okay? So the difference though is really on the user end. If someone saves your song on Spotify, it drops into that running list of saved songs and there's really no organization there. However, you as a user of Spotify can create as many playlists as you want and you can title them and you can organize them by genre or by mood or by feeling. And so me personally as a user, this seems like the more likely action if someone really loves your song and wants to listen to that song again. They're going to drag your song into a playlist that they've created for the future. And so that's what playlist ads are. Now that we know this, we can calculate our engagement rate by taking the saves, adding it to the playlist ads, and then dividing that number by the total number of listeners. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the calculator app and I'm going to take the number of saves, which is 46. I'm gonna add it to the playlist ads, which is 99. Now I'm gonna hit enter to get the sum of those two numbers. Now I'm going to divide that by the total number of listeners that I'm getting here in the engagement tab. That number is 6,276 listeners. And when I hit enter, I'm going to get a decimal. If you remember from school, in order to turn this decimal into a percentage, you need to move the decimal place over to the right 2 places. So this number here is a 2.3% engagement rate. But that number means nothing without context. You don't know, and I haven't told you yet if I'm running Facebook ads, if I'm blasting out my mailing list, am I running playlist promotion campaigns like the ones that I offer on my website? You don't know any of that story, and so this engagement rate of 2% is really an empty value right now. But thankfully, this is my own music, and I can tell you everything that I've done with my music lately as far as promotion. And funny enough, the answer is a big fat 0. I've not done anything recently regarding promotion for my 2 songs that are out. All of the streams that you're seeing, all of the engagement, all of the playlist ads that you just saw in my Spotify for Artists dashboard are actually just coming from one place. And I'll show you that one place right now. If I go to the music tab and then I click on the playlist tab, you'll see that almost all of my streams are coming from one Spotify algorithmic playlist right here. Almost all of my streams are coming from the radio feature built into Spotify. And I'll scroll down just to prove it to you. I'm still getting some solid streams from fans who've added my songs to their own playlists, but even adding this all together is nowhere close to the 9,000 streams I've gotten from the algorithmic radio playlist built into Spotify. And this can also be shown if I go into audience and I scroll down to this source of streams chart right here. You can see that 80% of my streams are from Spotify algorithmic playlists. So this is very important to know because this is telling you the source of the traffic that is creating these engagement stats. And on top of that, I can tell you that I'm not currently running any Facebook ads. I'm not currently running any Spotify playlist promotion. And I can prove that to you just by widening the date range of this chart. And you can see all of the Spotify playlist promotion campaigns are occupying the peaks of the chart, and all of the valleys are when I get off of the playlist. And here you can see when I kind of triggered the algorithm thanks to all of these playlist campaigns, and the Spotify radio algorithm activated for my music. And you can see it's actually been increasing over time. So this is the history and the backstory of what is creating these specific engagement stats. And not a lot of people talk about the engagement behind the algorithmic playlist that Spotify can offer for an artist once an artist reaches a certain level of popularity, right? We always talk about wanting to trigger the algorithm. We want Spotify to give us free streams, basically. We want to get on Fresh Finds, we want to get on Spotify Wrapped, and we want to get on the Spotify radio algorithm, but we rarely talk about the type of engagement that comes along with these algorithmic playlists. And I have never seen a video out on YouTube or anywhere else where someone actually analyzes the engagement rate for an algorithmic playlist. So thankfully, I have this data to share with you. And if I just told you out of the blue that my music is getting a 2.3% engagement rate, in your mind, because of all of the other people on YouTube and because of all of the other channels not going in depth enough, you might think, wow, Ryan, your music must be terrible. You're never going to trigger the Spotify algorithm because your engagement rate is so low. You're nowhere near that 10% engagement rate that everyone says that you have to hit in order to trigger the algorithm. But the truth of the matter is that it's actually the opposite that's true. And funny enough, being in the Spotify radio algorithm and getting listeners from that algorithm, the thing that every artist wants, it only yields about a 2.3% engagement rate and nowhere near a 10% engagement rate. So that is such an important story to know and to tie along with any type of engagement rate that you're calculating. But you might be wondering, how do I get a higher engagement rate for my music? It's cool that you triggered the algorithm, Ryan, but I actually want to hit that 10% benchmark that everyone keeps talking about. If that's you, don't worry, we're gonna continue and talk about that in this video. But before we go on, I wanna show you another Spotify for Artists dashboard that's getting a very similar engagement rate, but through very different means. This is the Spotify for Artists profile of my friend and fellow Indie Music Academy student, Roger Peterson. Now, Roger has done some Spotify playlist promotion campaigns through the service that I share on my website. Now, I'll show you really quick some of the playlists he's currently on with his Christmas song. And you can see over here, he's on a couple Christmas playlists for his new song, Wintertime in Vienna. So you can see he's on a German Christmas playlist and he's on an English-speaking Christmas playlist. So pretty good spread. The German one is an incredibly good fit, especially because the title of his song mentions Vienna. And you can see that he's getting tons of streams and tons of listeners, but I want to know what his engagement is. So I'm going to go over to the audience tab. I'm going to click the engagement tab, and you can see while he's on these playlists, his engagement rate is crazy consistent with the engagement rate that I was getting on the Spotify algorithmic playlists. I'm going to prove this to you by going through that same calculation that I just went through moments ago. So I'm going to pull up the calculator, I'm going to clear it out, and I'm going to add the number of saves to the number of playlist adds. Now I'm going to hit enter to get the sum of those two values, and now I'm going to divide it by the number of listeners, 91,169. I'm going to hit enter, and look at that, a 2% engagement rate also from third-party playlists. So what this tells me is that this playlist is consistent with the engagement rate that you would get from an algorithmic playlist. This is so important to know because everyone's concerned about whether or not a playlist is giving them proper engagement in order to trigger the algorithm. And because I have access to multiple accounts and I see the stats for different sources of streams, I can compare these two and I can say with confidence that the playlist promotion that we offer at the Indie Music Academy gets the same level of engagement that Spotify will give you once you get on the Spotify algorithm. That's why it's so important to tie your engagement rate to the source of streams that you're generating for your music to paint the full picture. Because if you were using playlist promotion with me or anyone else, but you were expecting a 10% engagement rate, you might actually be creating an unrealistic goal for the type of traffic that you're generating. And here's a scary thing that happens. Playlisters that use bots and that use different apps to generate fake streams might be manipulating the numbers in order to artificially hit that 10% engagement rate without any lasting results, without any lasting stickiness where your fans are sticking around after you get off the playlist. So here's the thing that I want to make crystal clear for you. Engagement rate isn't the whole story. Let's go back to Roger and his 2% engagement rate with getting on a great Christmas playlist. If I go over to the song that was placed on that playlist and I look at his streams when he gets off of the playlist, those streams are consistently hovering around 270, 230, let's just say an average of 250 streams every single day after he gets off of the playlist. Compare that to before, it's 0 because the song is brand new. So the stickiness is about 250 streams every single day after he gets off the playlist. Now let's compare those stats to another artist who ran another campaign that was run by some other company that I just won't name in this video. If we look at the streams before and after this campaign, there's almost no benefit, right? Before there's like 50, 60, 40. Okay, we got a few days in the hundreds, so maybe they're running a Facebook ad or something, but look at this massive influx of streams. We're getting 30,000, 36,000 streams per day. There's a little dip, maybe we got off the playlist, and then back to 22,000 streams per day. And then after this campaign, the new normal is non-existent. The new normal is actually worse than before. The lasting impact is non-existent after this huge promotion, right? And I'm using promotion in air quotes because what I see in this graph is just a lot of empty numbers. After this advertisement, after this playlist, after whatever this was, there is no stickiness where fans are sticking around after the campaign. This is the kind of stuff that is absolutely conclusive when it comes to analyzing your data. But you're probably wondering, what kind of engagement rate follows something like this with this campaign that left absolutely zero stickiness? And the results might surprise you. So I'm going to head over to engagement and I'm going to perform that same engagement calculation with this same artist that had zero stickiness on their campaign. So I'm pulling up the calculator, going to hit clear a few times, and I'm going to take this astronomical save number, 29,867 saves. I'm going to add that to the number of playlist ads, which is strangely low, 367. I'm going to hit enter to add those two numbers together, and then I'm going to divide that number by the number of listeners. 72,539 listeners. I'm going to hit enter, and holy smokes, this engagement rate is a whopping 41%. A whopping 41% engagement rate with zero stick after the promotion ends. That doesn't make sense at all. I threw these numbers into a spreadsheet just to organize our thoughts a little bit. So this is everything we've talked about. A 2.3% engagement rate for my music on the Spotify radio algorithm. Roger Peterson, 2.9% engagement rate through getting some IMA playlist promotion campaigns through my website, and then this unnamed artist getting a whopping 41% engagement rate. Plus their saves are weirdly high and their playlist ads are weirdly low. There's no correlation here. So looking at these numbers, and you're also seeing a peek into what I'm going to talk about in the second half of this video, I just want to make a few conclusive statements over what we've covered so far. that 10% engagement benchmark that is thrown around on the internet all the time, or whatever that number might be, that engagement rate percentage on its own, without any other data, without any story surrounding that engagement percentage, is a pretty useless metric. You need to understand the story behind the traffic source. You need to understand the story about how these streams are being generated, and you need to see what kind of stickiness is occurring after the promotion ends to get the complete picture of what's happening with your promotion campaigns. And with my music, me being on the Spotify radio algorithm, right, there's no promotion going on, no ads, no third-party playlists, no hiring of agencies, no bots, right, because this is all coming from the Spotify algorithm. I'm getting a 2.3% engagement rates with a huge stickiness, right? All of my streams are coming from sticky people. I showed you over in my playlist stats that I have ton of user playlists that are streaming my music every single day. Over 285 playlists to be exact, from fans who've dragged my song into their playlist, and in the last 28 days, another 99 fans have added my song to their playlists. So this is huge stickiness from the Spotify algorithm. That's why we want to get on the Spotify algorithm so bad, because it's free exposure from the Spotify app. Let's go back to our spreadsheet and go over to Roger Peterson again. Slightly over a 2% engagement rate through the playlist promotion service that we offer on our website, right? We help artists just like you get connected with Spotify playlist influencers so that you can get your songs onto playlists with real people, no bots whatsoever, and you can get an engagement rate that's consistent with the Spotify radio algorithm. But on top of that, you get a huge stickiness, which proves that real people are falling in love and engaging with your songs even after you get off the playlist. And here's that chart again. I'll move my face to the other side so you can see after Roger got off the playlist, he's still getting a consistent 230, we'll average that to about 250 streams every single day, even after he's off the playlist. That's huge stickiness compared to going from 200 streams a day just down to 30 or 40 after a massive promotion. That makes zero sense, regardless of the engagement rate. So I've told artists before, look, it doesn't matter what the engagement rate percentage is on its own, because playlist owners who use bots can also automate saves to artificially increase your engagement rate. Okay, so it's important to know what kind of engagement percentage correlates with each type of traffic source. So if your music is getting on a playlist, your song's engagement rate should be consistent with the playlist engagement rate benchmark. And I usually tell artists that that playlist engagement rate benchmark is somewhere between 1 to 3% engagement. If you're using Facebook ads and you're using direct marketing to directly send fans to your artist profile to stream and save your song, and you can even say in the ad's call to action, please save this song and become a follower, here's the link to my Spotify profile, then you can achieve that 10% engagement rate, because the traffic source is different. The traffic is not from a playlist anymore. The traffic is direct. It's through direct marketing, right? If someone is clicking on an ad, that click is already a valuable action. Then they have to hit play on your song because Spotify doesn't autoplay once you click a Facebook ad. So that's already another valuable action. And then by the time they listen to your song, you already have a super targeted individual who'd already jumped through some hoops before hitting the save button on your song. So through direct marketing, you for sure can hit that 10% engagement benchmark. But it's important to understand that the engagement ratio will change as a result of the type of traffic you send to your Spotify and does not speak to the quality of your advertising or the playlist. The quality of your advertising is going to be expressed with your cost per click and how expensive that ad is running on Facebook. And similarly, you can tell the quality of the playlist you got on by the stickiness after you get off the playlist, right? How many fans are sticking around and actually fell in love with your music when they were exposed to your music? That helps to contribute to the full story behind what's really happening when you're promoting your music. So with that being said, in conclusion, this unnamed artist who I want to keep their identity a secret, I love this person. I'm just talking about the data right now. It has nothing to do with the quality of their music. But the unnamed artist who went through an unnamed agency to get this astronomical engagement rate, but no stickiness and no lasting positive impact, this would be something that I would say to avoid when promoting your music, because the engagement rate isn't the end all be all when it comes to doing ethical and high quality promotion for your music. And even though the engagement rate is lower on paper for my own music through the Spotify radio algorithm and Roger Peterson's music through the Indie Music Academy playlist promotion service, at the end of the day, the new normal speaks for itself. I would highly recommend going through the ethical and proven route to promote your music rather than taking a chance on something that probably was bots and will leave no lasting impact on your music. This I would avoid at all costs. Now, this video is long enough already, but I just want to continue to dive in to all the different engagement rates. And I told you in the beginning that there are some artists who are getting a 50% engagement rate on their music. And that is such an incredible number that I just have to show you the Spotify for Artists portal, because you probably wouldn't believe it if I just said it without showing it. So now I'm going to dive into two more Spotify for Artists portals and highlighting two artists that are getting a near 50% engagement rate, 42% to be exact. First, I'm going to dive into my wife's Spotify for Artists portal. She's a classical pianist, and her portal is going to have some unique data because we've actually never done a promotional campaign for her music before, at least not yet. So her data, you could say, is more or less pure because we've never run Facebook ads and we've never done any Spotify playlist campaigns. This has all been organic SEO discovery through the Spotify search engine. And if you've never heard the term SEO, that stands for search engine optimization. And that means if someone types in her name or someone types in the name of her album, her music appears in the search results. And this is going to make a lot more sense in a second. So her release is a Schumann album called Papillons. This is a classic piece of literature written by Robert Schumann, and this actually gets searched a lot by other classical pianists and others who enjoy classical music. So all of her traffic so far has come from people who are searching and using the Spotify search bar to discover her music, and her music is the answer to that search. So she's getting discovered through Spotify search, and her engagement rate is off the charts. First of all, her streams to listener count is the highest I've ever seen. And if I bring back the calculator app and calculate her engagement ratio by adding her saves to her playlist ads and then dividing that by her total number of listeners, her engagement ratio is that 42.5% that I mentioned earlier. Ridiculously high, but that makes sense because of the traffic source. She's not getting traffic through playlists. She's not getting traffic through Facebook ads. The source is actually different than anything I've mentioned so far in this video. The source is through search, through organic search results. Her listeners are all coming through the Spotify search bar, which is showing a huge intent to listen in comparison to the other traffic sources such as playlists and ads. Huge intent. So it only makes sense that this highly engaged traffic source full of intentional listeners are yielding an extremely high engagement rate. Next is Patrick Olson, who is an incredible artist, and I had the pleasure of helping him run his Facebook ads campaigns. I had the pleasure of helping him get onto multiple Spotify playlists, and I helped him grow his mailing list to over 10,000 subscribers for his music brand. Now, if you've been following this channel for any length of time, you'll know that I'm a broken record in saying, grow your mailing list, grow your mailing list, grow your mailing list as an artist. And Patrick was smart enough to see this as a valuable asset for his music business. And so we worked together to do just that. We grew his mailing list to an incredible size. And when I go over to his Spotify for Artists dashboard now, it's clear to see in the data that that investment paid off. If I pull up the calculator app and clear it out, I'll do that same engagement calculation that I've been doing this entire video. I'm going to take the number of saves, 436, add that to the number of playlist ads, 180, and then I'm going to divide that by the total number of listeners he got in the last 28 days. And you can see that he's getting an engagement ratio of 42%. Now remember, this number doesn't mean anything on its own. It needs context. So I'm going to tab over to his full stats tab and even widen the date range to show the full picture. And you can see that all of his streams are returning fans. All of these streams are his new normal, not from ads, not from playlist promotion. They're his sticky fans that have stuck with him and are continuing to listen day after day once our big promotional push ended. I had the privilege of marketing Patrick's music during his release, so you can see we go from 0 streams before the album came out to a huge push, and then we even did a second push, and then now this is his recurring fan base. This is his new normal. And I just want to stress this one fact. If you promote the right way, if you promote ethically using real traffic sources, using legitimate Spotify playlists, using well-crafted Facebook ads, and not using bots, not using low quality agencies that just bump the numbers and don't actually engage real people. If you do promotion right, you will see a long-term positive impact in your music career. If you understand that different traffic sources are going to yield a different engagement percentage, and instead focus on the quality of fan and the stickiness of that fan over the long term, you're going to build your music career for success for years to come and not get caught in the weeds of idolatry over a single stat that means nothing without the full picture surrounding it. I know a lot of this doesn't come naturally. We're not all born statisticians. After all, we just want to make music. So hopefully this video helps you to understand what you should be focusing on and what requires a fuller understanding in order to plan and analyze your Spotify promotion analytics. So if you need more help with this, please reach out. If you're on my mailing list, you already know all you have to do is reply to any email I send. And if you're not on the mailing list yet, I want to encourage you to click the link in the description below where I have a free music marketing workshop for you that I'll send directly to your inbox, and it'll teach you a lot of the foundational principles about music marketing, and it should be super helpful if you're trying to get started. Plus, it'll be the perfect introduction where we can get to know each other better, and you can reply to any one of those emails if you have a question about any of the material. So that's it. I hope this video was helpful to you. If you have any questions, or you want to leave a comment, or you want to talk about your own Spotify analytics, just drop a comment below. And if this video was helpful, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and consider becoming a subscriber so you never miss another video from the Indie Music Academy. If you hit that notification bell, you'll get notified whenever I upload a new video, which will super help the channel because for some reason I have, I think, 50,000 subscribers right now, but I know for a fact that most of them don't even know when I upload a new video, and that's just a shame. I think that YouTube is more interested in showing ads rather than building a community. So if you want to join the community, the best ways are to join the mailing list, hit the notification bell, and if you want to take it even a step further, you can even join some some of the formal trainings that I put together for artists who want to take command of their own marketing for their music. If you're interested in any of those trainings, like the 80/20 Music Business Crash Course or the Music Selling Through Storytelling 30-Day Challenge, I'll leave those links in the description below. I highly recommend investing in your marketing knowledge because it's going to save you so much time to just absorb that information from someone who's been there before, rather than scouring the internet and YouTube videos for days and months trying to piece together a strategy that might not even be the right strategy for you. So if you're serious about marketing and you're serious about understanding the music industry, I highly suggest clicking one of the links in the description below to save you time so that you can get clarity on your next music moves. So that's it for today. I hope this video was super helpful, and I'll see you guys in a future video on this channel.